check. Yo! Low. Oh, we didn't put our lip gloss on. Hold on, let me disappear again. You'll never know. You'll never know what I'm doing. It's me for the first time ever today. You never saw that. Hello. We are here today, gathered to honor our new friends, Caelestia. Let's hear it for Caelestia. Yes. Of course. Yes, I'm very excited. Today we are going to be checking out an album. So if you haven't been here before for one of my album reviews, it's a fun time. I say review. Those of you that have been here in my stream know that I am not a critic. Far from it. I only share things that I like on my other channels, like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. Likewise, here on Twitch, I'm not here to critique music. I'm here to find appreciation in music, and that is what we're going to do here today. I think this band is going to push me a little bit. So, my background is in vocal performance, vocal education, but mostly vocal performance. I usually approach my reviews or my reactions, whatever, whenever I'm listening to music in general, I'm usually looking at things from the perspective of a vocalist and a songwriter. I am a melody writer. I am a lyricist, a poet perhaps. But based on what I gathered in preparation for this album review, I think there's only 2 songs with lyrics. I think. I could be wrong, but I was trying to pull up the lyrics so we could do a little bit of lyrical analysis, and I was only able to find the lyrics for 2 songs. So, Jezebel's upset. She's grumbling. I know, Jezebel. No, but it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Because the little chunks that I've heard of the songs are phenomenal. So, I'm always looking for music that pushes me out of my comfort zone. I love all types of music. I can find appreciation in almost anything. And I think this is going to be great. In fact, I'm glad there's no lyrics because I personally, as a vocalist, as a melody writer, as a lyricist, I truly believe that I get distracted by the lyrics and the vocal melodies. I think because I'm used to picking that out, that's where my brain automatically goes. And a lot of the times, as you will see if you look at my other album reviews that I've done, I almost always have to listen back and actively say to myself, either internally or out loud, all right, this time I'm going to be listening for the bass and guitar, or this time I'm going to be listening for the drums, because I'll completely miss it. So the lyrics will not be standing in the way of me appreciating the instrumentals in any of these tracks, if there are, in fact, no lyrics in most of the songs. Now, for those songs that do have lyrics and melodies, yes, of course, we'll do a little bit of lyrical analysis, we'll pick out those melodies, see what we like, all that fun stuff. Mostly, what I can tell you to expect from one of my album reviews is we're going to chill and listen to good music. That's what I know for sure. So, don't expect a lot out of me. I am not a strings player. I don't play the guitar. I don't play the bass. I can fiddle around. I've heard a lot of guitars and bass in my day. I've performed with a lot of guitarists and bass players. I'm a big drum head. I love drums, but I am not a drummer. I'm not a drummer. So any analysis that I do on these instruments is just based on my experience in working with them, my experience in listening to lots and lots of them, and it's just biased based on what I like. So take that with a grain of salt. I'm coming into this with a clear head. I'm excited. I love music. I love Caelestia. I've already heard some of their older tracks, and I'm excited to share with you what I've learned. I hope that you're excited too. let's just jump right into it. So, let me tell you what I know about Caelestia so far. Hi, Lindsay. Jezebel! That was from Lindsay. Jezebel! There you go. There you go. All right. Let me tell you what I know so far about my friends over at Caelestia. Do nice little pictures so you can visualize. There they are. Look at them. Good looking band right there. Boom. Tell me you're in a metal band without telling me you're in a metal band. Am I right? Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, let me wet my whistle before I get into this. I feel a little rough. Here, Rocky, you talk to him. Here's Rocky. All right, great. Good job, Rocky. This band originates in Athens, Greece. That's right, Athens. They are a self-proclaimed modern extreme metal band. Extreme metal. They started out back in the day with a little bit more of a symphonic sound, where they used a lot of orchestral elements and clean female vocals. We're very familiar with that around here. They have since evolved into a sound that combines melodic black metal with modern death metal. So keep that in mind. I'm really interested to see where the modern death metal comes into play, because I feel like that's a little bit more what I'm familiar with, where black metal is like a step above where I'm usually comfortable listening or where I know what's happening. I can still appreciate it. It's just like above my pay grade, if you will. Since they had some deliberate lineup changes in 2020, the writing process has been centered more around the guitar riff and building song structures that switch between keys and tonalities. So think nerd metal. As well as adding a skilled drummer, Mark Rain, formerly of Morgoth and Destruction, and complex time signatures, cue the count, to avoid the rigidity of your standard intro verse chorus formulas. So we're looking at a band that is trying to go outside of the norm, trying to not fit into that formulaic box that we all know. Something that's not the cookie cutter version of what you expect a song structure to be. Lyrically, their inspiration comes from mythology as well as horror, fantasy, and science fiction writers such as H.P. Lovecraft and C.R. Jacoby. They also write about historical events such as the World Wars 1 and 2 and Japan's Sengoku period, which, if you're unfamiliar, was a time of intense civil war and social upheaval in Japan. They also introduce elements of the human experience, including heavy themes such as psychological struggles and deep mental states. Relatable. Their listed influences include the band's Death, Morbid Angel, Dissection, Opeth, Isan, and Dark Tranquility. So that's the basis that we're starting with. I intentionally did not do the full extent of my research for this band yet. We are having them on for an interview on Wednesday. And yes, I have a whole queue of stuff, of research to do on them. I want to start here with a clean slate without having any preconceived notions of who they are and what they might be writing about, and just take everything at face value. Then as I do my research, when I speak to them on Wednesday, I'm going to apply some of the things I learned here today together with the history of the band that I will be learning over the weekend. Okay, so that is my background on Caelestia. So let's talk about the album real quick. So the album is called Revelations in Black. So what we're going to do is listen to each song individually. We will be giving each song a full playthrough once, talk about it a little bit, and then we'll go back and listen a second time. If we need to pause at that point, that is where we will. If we want to go back and forth and check out different parts, we will. Maybe not. We don't always do that. It just depends on the song, depends on the day, depends how we feel. So I'm very interested to see what the lyrical situation is, if it actually is that there's not a lot of lyrics in these songs, or if they just didn't post the lyrics to all of them. Either way, put it on shuffle and let fate decide. You know, it begs the question, how do we feel about albums in general as a body of work? Because I feel like social media is taking us away from albums. Like, if you look at a band like Dark, for example, the German metalcore band Dark, it's all singles. And I've asked them if they have any plans to release an album, and so far the answer is no. And I'm curious. I feel like I know kind of where bands are coming from with the singles. I think in marketing yourself at certain stages of your career, it makes sense to do the singles where Dark is at. However, do listeners still appreciate the album as a full body of work? Or do they even go listen to the album after they hear a song that they like? I like to listen to my album straight through. See, me too. At the same time, I feel like I know a lot of listeners that don't feel that way. That they just like the song that they like. They don't need to hear the rest. And they aren't really interested in the full picture that the artist was trying to paint with the album. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just trying to understand from a listener's perspective, what's the most enjoyable? Would you hear a song from this album and then go find it to hear what else is on it? I'm probably abnormal because I still buy physical albums and vinyls and listen to them. Yeah, I realize that asking people here in this community is not going to give you a real snapshot of what an average listener is experiencing, because I think people that come here for this, what we do here, are here for more. We're here for more musical analysis, for more nerdy music talk, and those people I find dive a little deeper than an average listener. Maybe you're not the right people to ask, but something to think about. What you can do, this is what I do, is when you go out to parties or bars and you're out socializing with people, ask them, the layman, ask them how they feel about it. And you're going to hear all kinds of weird shit, I'll tell you that. Yeah, I feel most of us here are music connoisseurs. Yeah, I think there's lots of different flavors of music listener, and most people, I think, would categorize themselves as like a casual music listener. I think there's a larger group of people now too that do kind of like the thing that I say all the time, make your life a soundtrack. They kind of do that. Like, they expect music to be on when they walk in a store, when they go to a restaurant, when they work out, when they get in the car. And not having music playing is like weird and awkward. And then, of course, if you can control that music, that's a bonus. But of course, there's also the group of people that they don't listen to music and they expect silence when they do those things. Or like cleaning your house. Come on. Who does that in silence? But I think the people here are like a tier above both of those, which is like, I love music. I expect to be listening to it all the time that I can. I want as much control over it as possible. And I'm paying attention to it more than whatever the task is that I'm doing. And it's important to me, period. As many flavors of music, listeners, as there are flavors of autism. Exactly. It's a spectrum. It is a spectrum. I think that is probably the best way to put it. But I do find that the people that flock, hi Ace, by the way, I do find that the people that flock here tend to be a little bit more serious about their music listening than a lot of people that I would describe as passive music listeners, per se. For me, each album is a story when listening front to back. And I think that's the artist's intention, is that it's a story. But I don't know if a lot of casual listeners give it that chance. So since I don't have lyrics for all of these, the context is going to be inferred on the storyline, right? So lyrically, their inspiration comes from, I guess not even just lyrically, thematically would have been better phrasing. Thematically, their inspiration comes from mythology as well as horror, fantasy, and science fiction writers such as H.P. Lovecraft and C.R. Jacobi. Historical events, the World Wars, Japan's Sengoku period, psychological struggles, deep mental states. So keep that in mind as we work through this album. I like melodic black metal. Okay. So we're going to see some elements of that here today. The question is the age-old question that we've been trying to answer here on my stream is, what is the difference between all of these things? Now, you know, I'm the streamer, right? I've got all this background in music. Well, guess what? None of that means shit when it comes to subgenres, because what we have found through lots and lots of interviews with music enthusiasts, with band members, different types of instrumentalists, vocalists, music historians, is that subgenres tend to be very subjective and not easily definable, we'll say. I think there are elements that you could clearly point to say this is metal or this is not metal, right? We know that. When it breaks down as far as melodic black metal, extreme metal, you know, what like is heavy metal versus metalcore, those sorts of things, you're going to get different answers from different people. Listeners tend to vary from artists in how they categorize music. So I'm not going to give you a clear answer on what defines these genres. Let's take a look, or I'll tell you. Extreme metal. Broad umbrella term, right. Right. So harsh, heavy, fast, more aggressive than traditional rock or standard heavy metal. So faster, harder, stronger. All that shit, right? Black metal. We know what melodic means, right? Containing melodies, using melodies. It's a subgenre of extreme heavy metal that blends aggressive, high-speed blast beats. Okay, we know what those are, right? Blast beats, lots of double bass, double bass. Shrieking vocals, okay, of traditional black metal with the structured twin guitar harmonies and melodic songcraft of melodic death metal. Wow, let's check out what is modern death metal. Evolution of traditional 80s and 90s extreme metal that combines old school brutality with cleaner production, technical wizardry. Okay, this is the shit I'm talking about. This is AI, but it sounds written by musicians. Technical wizardry and cross-genre experimentation. This is modern death metal I'm defining here. Right. We're going to get a lot of context just from these song titles, if there are in fact no lyrics, which we are anticipating that there may not be. I will tell you that the first song is called La Morte Amoureuse, which means the dead woman in love. And this is actually the name of a song. This is the name of the song. It's the name of the song that we're about to listen to. But it's also the name of a short story that was written by Théophile Gautier in 1836. And it tells the story of a priest named Romuald who falls in love with Clarimonde, a beautiful woman who turns out to be, spoiler alert, a fucking vampire. So he meets this woman in church. She's the most beautiful woman he's ever seen. And he hears the voice of a woman when he's seeing her, making him promises that she can give him all of the love that his heart could ever desire. And he falls in love at first sight. He becomes completely enamored with her, obsessed with her. He spends a lot of time trying to seek her out just to find her, find out that she is in fact a vampire, but didn't stop him from ruining his life over her. even after a priest got involved and told him that his lust was coming from a place of sin and that he needed to separate himself from her to save himself. Disappearing. He never sees her again. So let's check out La Morte Amoureuse. This looks like an intro song. It's only 1 minute and 8 seconds long. Go. Ooh. Ooh. Chords. Woo! And harmonics. Okay, I'm gonna pause it before we jump into the next. Wow. That's the intro. How fucking beautiful is that? Already, in my opinion, very classical. Like, it seems like the melodies and chord structure are rooted in classical music background for sure. So we're talking about the guitar player Bill, who is the main songwriter. I'm gonna assume, based on this, that he has a background in classical guitar because that is what's coming through. Those chords, the way that they resolve, very, very common themes in classical music. Gonna be the Giner's a smooth criminal. 100%. I always love melodic pieces at the beginning of intense tracks. Me too. I say this all the time. I always say, your girl loves a dichotomy. I love songs that have a lot of contrast in dynamic range. So a lot of quiet, sweet, intimate parts, stripped back, just one instrument, maybe just a vocal or one instrument and a vocal, especially when it grows into something more. So I'm 100% with you on that. This is definitely starting off like a melodic black metal album. Love a good instrumental intro, period. Track 2 about to go hard. All right. What I want to do is I want to play this track again and let it flow into the second track because I want to get that experience that they curated for us by putting these songs in order on this album. A calm before the storm, exactly. Notice that bass note is just droning. Oh, now the bass note changed. Little deceptive cadence. Love it. Oof. So sick. Here we go. Yeah, there it is. guitar lyrics. Woo! That chord! Last beats for days. Woo! Hear those arpeggios in the guitar? Nope. Tempo change. Steel shout. How's it going? I'm doing good. How are you? This is groovy. All right, John. Thanks for hanging out. See you next time. I love that chord. It's so jazzy. Oh, fade out. Oh my gosh. Hello, Gazelle Grace. What's up? How you doing? Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome to the stream. How are you? What was going on? Hello, hello, hello. What were you up to? What were you playing? Shakers are raided. Yeah, let's shake it up. Shake it up. Shake it up. Bonjour. All good, all good. Doing all goodies for needed people. Oh, that's so nice. Well, thank you for stopping by and hanging out with us. Yay. Hello, Raiders. My name is Laila Melodie. I'm a music content creator. I do a lot of shit, but mostly I look for up-and-coming bands that are small-ish, that need a platform, and I try to give them one. I do a lot of reactions. I cut clips of those reactions and I post them to other social media platforms so that the bands have a little piece of media that they can share and try to connect to their future audience. That's mostly what I do. Here today, I was asked ever so kindly by Eclipse Records and this band, Caelestia, to review their album. So that's what we're doing. We do a lot of metal, we do a lot of rock. This band is an extreme metal band, so it's a little heavy, so just a heads up on that. But they're super talented, and we just listened to the intro song and the second track on the album so far. So welcome! I hope you had a great stream today. If you have to raid and run, I totally get it. If you can hang out and lurk, that's cool too. But no pressure. Take care of yourself first. You're the most important player on your team. Don't forget that. I get to share hidden gems with you later on. They're so good. I might love them. Absolutely. Absolutely. And in my Discord, there is a music sharing channel for just that. So it's like if people want to share stuff that doesn't necessarily need to be played on the show, then we can just share with each other in there as well. Or you can always DM them to me. That's fine. Yes, always a fun stream. Were you playing music or reacting to music? What kind of music streams do you do? Yes, I'm in your Discord. I thought so, but I just wanted to make sure. Didn't want to assume. Some people join my Discord and then like leave right away, which I get. You know, there's a lot going on in there. A lot of posting. But good. Glad you're in there. All right, wow. Holy shit. So for those of you guys that just heard that song, thoughts? Just karaoke? Oh my god, that's so fun. I do that too. I call it a live music performance when I do it, but it is karaoke. That's awesome. That's awesome. Any particular style of music that you like to do? I kind of like to mix it up. Hard to put me in a box, but I think mostly I do like alternative. I would say alternative rock. And then ranging from like heavy to softer than that, I'll do, you know, Britney Spears and shit too. Or Crow, even. Jewel, perhaps. But whatever my little fucking heart desires, you know? And the team, whatever. Okay. Wow. We're gonna listen to that song again. That was just the first listen through. Pop music? Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, welcome. Welcome. All right. Anybody have any thoughts on what we just heard? So the song is called Buried. I don't have the lyrics. I'm sorry. I did not find the lyrics. They have lyrics posted under some of their videos on YouTube, but this song was not included in that, to my knowledge. So I think we should listen back again. He has a very deep growl, which I thought was really cool. I wish I could do it. I'm learning how to fry scream. It's not going that great. And every time I hear people like this, I'm like, it's really not going great. No, but he's very talented. I thought it fit really well with the song too. The deep voice, the deep growl with the different elements that they brought into this. The guitar really stood out to me, which I know I said that in their intro, that they build around the guitar riff. So what I read is they build the whole song before they put the vocals on it. So the vocals are not included in the writing process until after all the instrumentation is already solid. So I definitely heard that in this song. It feels like the vocal melody and lyrics are a complement to an already built and beautiful track. So for those of you that just came in, I'm going to play the song again. I'm just going to be making some notes while I do it. I really liked it. Originating from Athens, Greece. Yes, they've been a band since 2013, believe it or not. They had their first debut album released in 2015. Still going. And this sounds great. I mean, this sounds great. All right, I'm going to start this song over. Check it out again. Hi, Tiger. Definitely a lot of blast beats in this song. The drumming's incredible. Oh, I wanted to ask Hadza. Manga boys, what's up, dudes? I'm gonna turn this down for a second. Madza, what did you mean when you said... Oh, I'm backing up. Revelations in Black seems to be a collection of fantasy and horror short stories. So it's a body of work called Revelations in Black? I need to look that up. So I wonder if these are all in reference to that, which is what you're saying. Well mixed and mastered as well. Sounds raw, powerful, and clean at the same time. It's rare to achieve all three at the same time. Couldn't agree more. Doing great, Spangle Boys. It's so good to see you. How are you doing? I'm so glad you were able to stop by. Final boss music, 100%. Writing that down. Final boss music. I love this part. Dying, just got home from a night workout, currently unalive. Oh no, you need rest after that. And water. Oh, the guitar! It is swingy, right? Oh, it is by Carl Jacobi. Wait for it. The guitar is really impressive. The mix is so clean. I'm interviewing the guitar player on Wednesday. So many Habibis. Hi, Kazumi. Oh, that chord does it every time. Nice, Mazda. Wow. Okay. Wow, okay, so looking up what the symbolism might be of 44 minutes and 44 seconds. Maybe it was intentional. Very interesting. And a fade out. That's right. That's right. Okay. So, interesting. So, Revelations in Black. So I did mention at the top of the stream when I was introducing the band and the album that they do state that they take inspiration from mythology and horror, fantasy, and science fiction writers such as H.P. Lovecraft and C.R. Jacobi. So that makes perfect sense with what you're saying, Madza. Completely lines up. Gotta go enjoy the stream. Thank you so much. Thank you, Gazelle Grace, for the raid. I appreciate you trusting me with your lovely community. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you so much. Or night, depending on where you are. Davo! Hi, Davo. Welcome. All right, cool. So track 2, first song after the intro, lots of blast beats, final boss music, cool tempo change, kind of towards the end there. Very interesting. It's moving. Like, it keeps moving along. Like, I'm not bored at all. And it's definitely true to form what they were saying, that don't expect to see your typical intro, verse, chorus formula. I definitely think they're doing their own fucking thing, which, mad respect. Let's check out track number 3 called Jutland. Ooh. Ooh. I hear some Habibi notes. I'm writing down Habibi notes. Oh, this one has lyrics. Jutland, for victory or grace. Dreadless glass, fluid stuck, Peter struck, fading dark, stars of flame, disintegrate, may your father fall his prey. Wow. Chuggy. Alright, now we gotta look up Jutland. Wow. Nice polyrhythm! Digging this one, it's like if someone asked Niall to chill. Who's Niall? Oh. You know the song Kafir? No. have no idea. Don't know where that got flat. Wow. Okay. Wow. 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 So a lot more chuggy, a little different in tempo and vibe, I would say. Much darker, more serious in vibes. So the Battle of Jutland was the largest naval battle of World War I, fought from May 31st to June 1st. So that kind of explains these lyrics. These were the lyrics that I pulled just from their YouTube video. Titans met that day. Jutland. Darkness turned to gray. Jutland. Steel cut through the waves. Jutland for victory or graves. Wow. Really dark undertones there. Dreadnought clashed. Silhouettes stark. Torpedo struck. Fading dark. How is a flame against the grey? Men of iron, fiery spray. Jutland, a dreadful day in May 1916. So that is what they are referring to. May 31st to June 1st in 1916 in the North Sea near Denmark. Locked in furious fight, horrific blinding light, a fiery mournful pyre, consumed by battle's fire. Titans met that day as darkness turned to grey. Steel cut through the waves for victory or graves. Silence filled the air. Heroes met their share. A lesson etched in time. A heavy, mournful rhyme, as this one is. Wow. Are these, this isn't from one of those stories, is it? No, it can't be. Copy and paste it and see if it comes up as a short story that exists. No. Okay. Good, good. Very good. Very good. Okay. So, again, just like they said, themes from World War I. World War freaking One. Oh, what does that mean? Sershonya. If I Google this, am I going to get put on a list? Better not. Oh, very beautiful. Okay, no, it's good. Period. Okay, wow. Oh, just very good. Thank you. Okay. So, what stood out to me in that song was definitely the bass and once again, the guitar. I was definitely interested in the lyrics. Honestly, I feel like the drums are giving a very strong performance on this album so far, for me, in my opinion. I really like those big tom rolls that he was doing. They were it almost sounded like it could be a rototom, but it wasn't quite cheesy enough. But still really cool. I'm going to play it one more time. I'm going to try to focus on something that I wasn't paying that much attention to. I'll tell you what it is when I figure it out. Yes, the guitar. I feel like I was focused on the drums. So using, I believe, the Phrygian scale. The Habibi scale. There's a lot of those tom rolls. I really like it. I also love the ride. Love me a good ride. Reminds me of Tiamat. Gotta write that down. Love the low chuggy parts. My name's Laila Melodie. Welcome to my stream. I'll be right with you. Time to cry for hope. Help! Here's the polyrhythm. What's up, readers? My name is Laila Melodie. I'm a music content creator here on Twitch. I try to find smaller bands, give them a little platform, help them connect to their future audience. I cut clips from my streams when I react to their music, and I post them on other social media platforms to give them some media that they can use to reach their future fans. Tubo, thank you so much for the raid. How was your stream today? What were you up to? Playing music? Were you performing music? Reacting to music? Today we're doing an album review. I'm reviewing the latest album by an extreme metal band called Caelestia. They are originating from Athens, Greece, and they have this new album called Revelations in Black that we are checking out today. We're happy to have you. Thank you once again for the raid. If you have to raid and run, no stress. I'm going to be here doing this anyway. Thank you so much for your lovely community. Stay and hang out. That's great too. Gonna be listening, vibing out. We're only on track 3. We just finished track 3. So we got a few more. Free to hang out if you'd like. Love to hear what you guys were on about over on your channel. I do reactions and bass playing. Oh, nice. All related to music. Today was really cool. Listening to some music with some good and nice people. That sounds like my stream. Honestly, I should just copy and paste that. Today was really cool listening to some music with some good and nice people. I could say that like 90% of the time on my streams. I do sometimes sing, just like you sometimes play bass. And then sometimes we do stuff like this. Oh, I also interview people. I'm interviewing this band on Wednesday as well. Mike's clipping when you get quiet. Thank you. It's the, you know what it is. Hold on one second. It's the fucking noise gate. Shut it off. Hopefully it's not too noisy for you guys. There you go. All right. I gave a few prog songs. Oh my god, if you like prog, I feel like you're gonna like this. I'm a big prog girly myself. And we were, doing the whole what is music type of conversation as we were getting started here. This band lists that they are a combination of extreme heavy metal, modern death metal, and melodic black metal, which is a lot, but I'm kind of hearing it now, and it's feeling a little proggy to me in a good way. I like getting a little proggy, if you know what I mean. So the raid was perfect to keep going vibing. Exactly. Not noisy at all. Okay, great. Thank you so much. What's my top 5 bands? Oh my gosh. Okay. I can tell you this, all right? I'm going to have to cut this out of the video or they're going to discredit me. No, it's fine. Keep in mind that it's very nostalgia based for me. I'm a nostalgia girl. My favorite band is Paramore. Do with that what you will. I won't take any questions. Paramore. We got Incubus. We got Tool. We got Slipknot. And we got a little punk band from the early 2000s called Brand New. There it is. What that says about me, not too sure. Not too sure. All right. Well, thank you once again for the lovely raid. Let's move on to track number 4, which I believe has a music video. Hold on. Let me look. Caelestia Wolves. Yes, it does. Okay, great. I think we already reacted to it. It took me about 13 years listening to the genre to finally settle on a favorite band. Oh yeah, you got to give me your top 5. What's your top 5? All right, hold on one second. I'm going to get this music video over here so we can do it with the video. Why wouldn't we? They made it for us. Here we go. Oh, we're going to need more volume. Oh, you can't hear that. Hold on one sec. Let me fix it. Yeah. Vildhjarta is my favorite band. The other 4 are Caelestia. Wow. I'm gonna screenshot that. Hold on one second so I can check it out. I don't really like black metal too much extreme for me. See, so I was nervous that was going to be how I felt about this. Okay, I'm screenshotting because I don't know any of those bands. All right, Panda, I'm saving this screenshot for later. Thank you for sharing those with me. Contortionist is an elite pick, period. I trust Svanga boys. I was afraid that I was going to be... that the black metal part of their influence was going to be too much for me, but so far, it's absolutely not. Like, not even close. I'm really enjoying it so far. So we'll see. Maybe you'll like some too. Laila, you really need to listen to Contortionist? I will. Absolutely, I will. Really hoping they release an album this year. Seems likely, but I don't want to get my hopes up. I get it. I do that with Paramore all the time. Jason, welcome back. I say that as a non-prog person. Okay. Fair. Absolutely fair. All right, let me get this going. Hopefully you guys can hear it this time. There we go. I'm interviewing another prog band in September called Kinetic. You should check out. You're gonna see PK? Ooh, you gotta send videos. The drums! Oh, did you hear the drums? He did a little tasty little... You get it. There it is again. Wow. It really stands out to me how they rhythmically line things up with each other when it makes sense. It can get really corny if you do that exclusively, but like right there where it was lined up, the bass line rhythmically with the vocals and the drums. Love it. Very bass heavy. The drama. Oh, so good. Wow. 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 Yes, the metric modulation is tastefully exquisite. Oh, so good. Yeah, so I was saying at the top of the stream, I was giving some notes. I know some of you weren't here, so I'll just say them again. The writing process since 2020 for this band. This band started in Greece in 2013. Since 2020, they made some lineup changes and they have centered their writing process around the guitar riff and building song structures that switch keys and tonalities. They also, as you can clearly see, have added a skilled drummer. His name is Mark Rain, formerly of Morgoth and the band Destruction. They also like to introduce complex time signatures, and they are intentionally trying to avoid your standard intro verse chorus formula. Wow. Which I know is like right up your alley and like Unmuted too. Really like it. I really like it. Again, I don't think it's too extreme for like, it's still palatable, I think, for a regular metal listener. I don't think it's like when I think of black metal, it scares me because I've heard some black metal that is very hard for my ear to catch on to the musicality of it because it's so intense. I don't feel that way with this band at all. In ancient Greek philosophy, number 4 symbolized the structure of the physical universe, like earth, air, fire, and water. But number 4 might also be something to do with Revelations in Black, the book. Could be an interesting question to the band members for your interview on Wednesday. Madza, you're the best. 4, 4, 4, 4. Earth, air, fire, and water. I'm writing that down. Earth, air, fire, and water. Thoughts? Anyone on the song we just heard? I want to play it again. Sans music video. So we can get the experience without a visual aid. I think it does change things slightly. Very bass driven. Notice those rhythmic synchronicities that are very intentionally placed. The song is called Wolves. Let me see if I have lyrics for this. I think it's possible to get similar textures and feels that black metal can do without it sounding like all the instruments were recorded on a single microphone in a warehouse during a hurricane. You get it. Yeah, I think labels like that can scare people. You know, extreme heavy metal, melodic black metal, Norwegian death metal, like whatever. I think the terminology can be scary to people, but at the same token, the bands and the listeners wear it like a badge of honor and are proud that you're scared of it in a sense, because it's this crazy, scary thing that they love and appreciate, you know? Hello, of fear. Of fear. How are you? Welcome. Dinner time, I have to go. Really happy about this raid. I wish everyone an amazing stream. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, Tubo. Thank you so much for bringing your community over here. I gave you a follow. If I get a chance to check out your stream, I absolutely will. And I hope you have a great rest of your night and enjoy your dinner, of course. It's one of the reasons I listen to progressive metal, because that can really just mean anything these days. Sometimes it's jazz fusion forward, sometimes it's near death metal, sometimes it's both. Absolutely, you're so right on that. I'm noticing personally a lot of jazz elements, which I studied jazz in school. That's really where like the core of my background is. So I feel like I'm looking for it everywhere, so I don't always call it out. But those they're doing these like seventh chords, and I've noticed it in a couple songs where it's just like dun and it's just this tasty, like very extended chord that has like a jazzy flair to it, and then it's gone, and then it's back into, you know, your regularly scheduled black metal. I like their intention of not sticking to a regular song structure. It shows somewhat. Not one forced breakdown yet, which I really appreciate. Comes across as mindful songwriting. 100%. 100%. And what I've learned too through doing these like musical analyses is intention is everything. People know when you're being lazy about your songwriting. Straight up. It comes through, especially music appreciators and musicians. They're the first ones to call out, oh, this is just lazy songwriting. This is just a formula. And that's why a lot of us write off bigger name bands, not going to call anybody out, you know the ones, that just follow the same formula. It's like a handful of huge bands that rinse and repeat the same song in a different key over and over again with like raw anthemic lyrics that people can relate to. And it's boring. It gets really old really quick. Personally, I'm sick of it on my stream. I get so bored. I'm not clipping those anymore. It's overdone and it's lazy. Intention is everything. Broad labels are good for having an idea of what sound a band is, but I don't really care for more specific labels. I listen to what I like. And I think that's like an advanced listener take. I think the general public, casual listeners, they're not thinking of it that far, where they just see, oh, it's black metal, that's too much for me. Oh, it's extreme metal, that's too much for me. Where someone like you and I were like, oh, what could that be? Like, I've heard black metal that is way too crazy for me, and I've heard black metal that I really love. So I'm going to give it a shot. So it's interesting to me when bands still will put that label on there. But again, I feel like they're wearing it as a badge of honor more than anything else. I love when it's about as many aspects of the music as possible instead of just being about a vocalist or guitarist. Yes, yes. Especially the vocals in pop music or mainstream rock music. The vocals are almost always out in front of the music versus inside. With music like this, it's nearly impossible for the vocals to just be in front of the music. It completely misses the point, you know? Nike! Hi, Nike. Hi, Nikki. Sorry, I totally missed your chat. I got lost in the sauce. Thank you for being here. I hope you had a great stream. It was this morning, right? And last night? You're crazy. You're doing a lot. You guys, please go check out my friend Nikki. She's an amazing streamer. Very, very creative, very talented, and very entertaining. Absolutely. Variety streaming. My Nike girl. Just do it. Go follow her. Songwriting is hard work. Fully agree that intention is everything. I'll listen to a band simply for that. 100%. And that is what I've gathered from doing these types of streams. I've been hard stuck on writing lyrics for a song for the past week. And you know what? It do be like that sometimes. Sometimes you know this probably, but sometimes you gotta walk away and come back fresh. Ooh, what's this? Just do it. Go follow Nike. Okay. Thank you guys for all that. I think that was a really valuable discussion on music intention. Let's check out Wolves one more time, and then I'll just let it flow into track number 5. Something will come to you at some point, 100%. My music jam session, dance my way to tiredness. I left for dead. Thank you, Nike. Thanks, Nikki. I'm feeling a lot better today. Thank you for that, and I'm glad that you are having a great day too. That chord. It's so jazzy to me. Once again, great drum performance. I love what he's doing on the ride. Oh no, am I dropping frames? I'm sorry. Sorry. You guys can refresh. very vocal-centric when I listen to songs. Tend to view the vocals as another instrument in the composition. Yes! So I appreciate when vocalists pay attention to rhythm, cadence, texture, and melody. Good lyrics are always a bonus. This band has the vocal cohesiveness that I look for. Agree. Well said. There's that Phrygian again. They put us in the fridge again. All right, we're flowing into the next song, which is called The Slopes of Tenmokuzan. Oh, I love that. Drama. Yes! I feel like we're riding a horse. Into battle. More rhythmic synchronicities. Yep, synchronicities. Here's that twin lead guitar they were talking about. This is more modern. really nice. Wow, the drums are a lot harder and faster here. A lot of really nice groove switch ups. Flows really nicely together. The drummer's really steering this ship. Wow, that was a cool ending too. Wow, very jazzy. Very jazzy. Okay, I'm gonna pause and read some of these comments before I move on to the next one. I read this while the song was playing, but I'm gonna read it again because it lends itself to the discussion that we're having. Panda and Layla, y'all made a great point. I'm not very vocal-centric when I listen to songs, which I noticed about you, because I'm pretty sure you complained about me and Unmuted talking over the guitar solo when I was streaming with him a couple weeks ago. Which is valid, because we are both vocalists, so we are vocal-centric with the way that we listen to music, and I know that about myself. I said that at the top of stream as well. I tend to view the vocals as just another instrument in the composition, so I appreciate when vocalists pay attention to rhythm, cadence, texture, and melody. Good lyrics are always a bonus. This band has the vocal cohesiveness that I look for. Love it. Very well put. Panda says, that's actually one of the things I mentioned to people getting into heavier music for the first time is to almost view harsh vocals as a texture or instrument rather than spoken word at the listener. Great advice. And that's not for everybody. A lot of people, especially casual music listeners, find the vocals to be the most important part, the part that they relate to, the part that they're looking for, and surprisingly, not just the lyrics. Yes, that's why pop music has very stupid, dumb, very understandable, spoon-fed lyrics. But also the melodies, simple, catchy melodies are what laymen are looking for. Kazumi says, you pretty much have to when it comes to this style of singing, because maybe other people can, but I can't work out for the life of me what they are singing. Unreadable logos and undecipherable lyrics. Yeah, exactly. The logos are so funny. Caelestia's is not bad. Not a bad logo. Definitely readable. Panda says, depends on a handful of things. Some vocalists are more clear than others, depending on the technique as well. 100%. There's definitely been times where even just having the lyrics up while listening, it becomes much more present. That's how I like to listen to music, is to have the lyrics up so I can kind of make out what's being said. I also really like to learn lyrics as quickly as possible because it helps me enjoy the song more. Again, I'm a vocalist. I'm very vocal-centric with the way that I listen to and appreciate music. Doesn't mean I can't appreciate instrumental music. I studied jazz. A lot of jazz doesn't have vocals. And that's great, and I love that music too. But when it's there, that's how I like to appreciate it. My opinion is they wrote lyrics. They want me to know what they are. If I can't understand them on my own, I would like to see them. so I can catch the story or an element of the story, because some of the story is, of course, being told through the instruments as well. That was a nice outro. It's the same with opera music. I can't understand a lot of that too. 100%. 100%. After I left the school I was studying jazz at, the program I went into was opera. So I was having to sing in Italian, in German, in Russian, and, you know, the listener's not going to understand, which is why they teach you to emote through the melody, of course. I actually used to exclusively listen to instrumental prog music because for about a year or so in high school, I thought it took away from the instrumentation. And while that's true in a lot of cases, it became even more impressive when I started listening to bands that can maintain both. The bands Caelestia and Circles are the first two ones that made me love vocals and music as well. See, I love a story with a happy ending. I wonder if jazz school teach jazz hands in their curriculum. They do not. No. Great question, though. Okay. I love that. I love that. I'm going to back that song up slightly, and we'll listen to the outro again. Let me take some of your notes. I mean, that song was jazzy as fuck, but I kind of think they're all jazzy as fuck. I wondered if you guys felt the same way about the chord that I was hearing that I pointed out, or what it feels like to you. If you missed it, they do it quite often, so just listen to it again. I knew that was gonna happen, Zvenga boys. I knew I was gonna get clipped. But yeah, I think the drums are driving the ship in terms of the groove, which is the case for a lot of bands. In my opinion, a lot of good bands. I think it's a marker of a good band that the drummer has the space to do that and does it well, and that the other instruments sync up or seem to sync up with it. The bass, guitar, and drums are very aligned in this album in a way that I really like, and it feels, especially in this song we just listened to, that there's these moments where they kind of like come together rhythmically, and they have these really tight sections that feel super cohesive, I'll use your word, cohesive. And then they kind of depart on their own journeys, still totally related to each other, but separately and independently pleasing to hear. You know, it's not discordant. It doesn't feel like everybody's off in their own little world. And then somehow they still make it back together for these little beautiful rhythmic moments. I'm really loving that. Can't sing for shit, though. My voice is so monotone. It's like the epitome of an unenthusiastic hand job. No, at least have some enthusiasm if you're going to hit me with a handy. All right, I'm backing this one up ever so slightly, and then we'll roll right into track number 6. This song was called The Slopes of Tenmokuzan. Oh, let's look that up before we do that. The Slopes of Tenmokuzan. Okay. Oh, okay, it's a song by Caelestia. Right. The historical event. The Battle of Tenmokuzan from 1582. The song pays tribute to a famous event in Japan's Sengoku period, the Battle of Tenmokuzan. Fought on March 11th, 1582, it marked the tragic final stand of the once mighty Takeda clan. Hunted by the massive allied armies of Oda Nobunaga and Tokugawa Ieyasu, the Takeda leader fled to the steep mountains after being betrayed and locked out of a retainer stronghold. His wife and 16-year-old son and his final few dozen loyal samurai were cornered on the mountain slopes, Rather than be captured, he and his family committed ritual suicide. Ooh, while his remaining men fought to the death, effectively eradicating the Takeda bloodline. Wow! So fucking metal. Didn't know I could nail a Canadian accent. You didn't know that? Sorry. Oops, sorry. Wow. Brutal. Brutal shit. No wonder it's a 7-minute long song. Okay, let us continue. You like the way the snare is mic'd and tuned? I'm ready for this ending. Right? I don't like the 12:1 compression slows. Is that when it's like the super tight one? I like this. Becky, hi, how you doing? It's so good to see you. This is giving Metallica. Like old Metallica. Could be a byproduct of being a prog enjoyer, but I don't mind longer songs. More about what fits the song in the moment. Oh, you're gonna like Kinetic, the other band that I'm interviewing. You'll really like them. Super washy, got it. The song's called Fall of the Demon King. I love the drums right here. Where we going? Where we dropping, boys? Wow, killer vocals in this track. Why you guys think this is the best track so far? What was that? Hi, PJ. Wow. Wow, that was already 5 minutes and 30 seconds. That went by so fast. Wow, wow. A lot going on. A lot going on. Oh my gosh. So definitely curious. I saw Kazumi said this is the best one so far. Sounds pretty good. Stanky. Yes, yes. Yeah, that was the first one that I felt was a little bit more vocal forward, but all of the instruments were kind of doing a lot more. I felt like in that intro, we're going to play it again, but that intro with the big guitar lead part reminded me a lot of old school, like the really fun Metallica, like long Metallica songs. So cool. Love those tiny figures on your mic. Oh my god, thank you. It's like a little bracelet that my stepdaughter made for me. So nice. We're like a combination of cutesy girly and rah, metal and Halloween. Constantly all year long. That's what you're referring to as a Canadian accent. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Canadian. So Spangle Boys. You like that song? Did you think it was better than the others? Tough outside, but soft inside. Exactly. Exactly. Yes. You did think it was better. Okay. Favorite so far? Fall of the Demon King. That kind of makes sense, I guess. Wow. I wonder who our Demon King is. I can think of someone. Okay. So that was a lot going on. Once again, drums doing awesome things. Some blasty beats. More dynamic, better snare. Okay. Better snare. I didn't notice the bass as much. This was the first song on the album that the bass wasn't in my face with carrying the melody, I felt. Love the atmospheric break in between. Yeah, I love those dramatic breaks that they do. Really keeps it moving. Like it makes the song interesting. And again, kind of one of the other reasons why I feel like this is palatable for an average metal listener, because it keeps it interesting, even though it is a more extreme version of like your standard metal, like a Slipknot type sound. Definitely hearing the like twin guitar that was mentioned in the beginning of the stream. That kind of dueling guitar hero lead vibe. The melodies kind of coming through that way. But let's check it out again. And we'll roll into track number 7. Fall of the Demon King, everyone's favorite song. PJ, no, I have not heard that. That's crazy. I'm picking out the bass line now, but it's definitely not as forward as it was in the previous tracks. Panda, that's so funny. What up, Painkiller? Here comes a little break, right? Woo! How do you know? I hope you've been well. I've been good. Hanging in there. I hope you've been well as well. I'm glad you're here. PJ, I'm going to read that in a second. Love that slow blast beat. to do with the Christian metal band Demon Hunter saying Netflix are doing a global tour, impacting him, so let's take a thing as a K-pop show. Oh no! Oh, that stinks. On a new work schedule now, so I miss a lot of stuff. Oh, my schedule's changing soon, so maybe it'll work out for you. I'll be live at this time a little bit more. I wonder if that was in Greek. It sounded like it was not English, right? Here we go. 5 unicorns and a pearl. Strings! We're back to symphonic. Their background was symphonic, but they have moved away from orchestral music. Up until right now. Hey, have you practiced growls? I have. I'm working on it. I'm normally awake during third shift, but I'm awake during normie hours right now because I had to get groceries. I see. That's rough. That is rough. Oh, no way, PJ. That's fucking awesome. What a nice treat. Oh, that was like a short little middle song. That was it. That's dope. See, I like when bands do this. See, the album is a work of art. You gotta let the album stand as its own art. I actually prefer being awake at night. Much more peaceful to go on walks and things like that. That was me in adolescence. Like from like 16 to like my late 20s. That was me, for sure. And when I was a young, budding musician, I would, at night, climb on the roof of my house or my parents' house and write my lyrics and melodies and my little poems and stuff. I still have my little notebook that I used to do it in. But nighttime, when it was peaceful and quiet, yes, that's what I was looking for, is the calm from the crazy. Agree. Wasn't looking at my screen. Evil or a banger. If you get to meet PK, Spangle Boys, you gotta let them know I said hi. They're so sweet. I love them. I didn't start doing that as often until I was almost 30. Yeah, I was like escaping. I didn't like my home life very much. I was always running away. So you did actually Laila Melodies back then. I did. I still make Laila Melodies. They'll be coming soon. I just got my piano back set up. It's a whole fucking thing. You know, DAWs and learning new ones and shit. For sure, I was going to take credit for introducing them to chat, but then I remembered I'm not in unmuted. That's funny. Someone else brought them here. It might have been Davo or PJ. Yeah, me, their home life was garbage for the first 20-ish years, yeah. Yeah, it was good when I was like a kid, and then when I became more complicated than just like feed me and keep me alive, then it went to shit. When I was like 10, I'd say is when it went south. But anyhow, just letting you know I relate. Okay, 5 unicorns and a pearl. I gotta be honest, I was not looking over there. I was listening to it as if it was the intro to a song. So I was kind of like passively listening. So I'm gonna play 5 unicorns and a pearl again, and we're gonna let it roll into Revelations in Black, which is the title track of the album. Period. I might fangirl. I want to be like, do you remember we chatted on Twitch? Yeah, you should. You should, because that'll probably make them feel really good. You know, before I started doing all this, my dream was I was a YouTuber, or I was trying to be a YouTuber, and I wanted to film like behind the scenes, or no. Do you remember on VH1 they used to have a show called Behind the Music, and it was like they would interview like all of Mariah Carey's family or whoever the fuck they were doing, Whitney Houston, and talk about their childhood and talk about, you know, how they got to this point, who introduced them to music, and it would be this really well edited thing. And I wanted to do that for smaller bands like in my local community to make them feel like they were as big as like Metallica or something. And now that's kind of what I do here, is I just treat everyone as if they're like the most famous band I've ever spoken to. And I feel like you should totally give them that experience at the show, because it feels really cool, as you know, as a musician, for someone to do that. Now I listen to weird, heavy bullshit. Thanks, Mom. The dog is totally beat. Yeah, she's old and she's got really bad arthritis, so I just started having to give her like pain meds this week. So she sleeps very soundly right now. The other day Unmuted was ending and he was going to do RP, and he was asking if people wanted to raid a music channel or just go over to his RP channel. And I said, raid, as that's how we found you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how we all converged, you know? It's like a tradition. That's how we meet our new friends. All right, 5 Unicorns and a Pearl into the title track, Revelations in Black. Strings. That's how I found you. It was through Mike. That's right. My other buddy. Mike. I think Mike found me first, too. Mike and Unmuted. I'm just out here looking for my new friends. I found so many streamers now, I've lost track of how I found them. It's true. I found 2 through rating me today. This sounds like the build-up to a fight. Thank you. Okay, drum. Let's go. Jezebel woke up for that. I was a guest on Unmuted after he found me. He rated out to me, that's how I found him. But yes, I've been a guest there a couple times. He's also been a guest over here. like the effect on the vocals. I don't know if it was like that the whole time or I'm just noticing it now because there's enough space for it. Woo! Here we go, here's our break. Oh my god! How many fingers does that guy have? Woo! Drums bringing it home. Period. Wow. Let me back up on chat here. I've always found that I enjoyed sharing music with people, but lately I've had to go through some hoops first in order to determine if they're more an active or passive music listener. I found a lot of metalheads that hate my favorite band. Oh no! Oh no! Found you from Unmuted, then introduced you to Get Heavy and Let's Go Craig. Yes, yes. I think I did see Let's Go Craigo on, we were reacting to the same person on Instagram was how I first found him. And then I learned later that he was a streamer as well. I don't know why I don't automatically assume that they are, but there's a lot that are not. I think I followed you when you were a guest on a stream. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I did post in chat. Here, let me pin it. That is the link to this album that we're currently listening to. The band is called Caelestia. They are from Athens, Greece, and that is a link to their new album, Revelations in Black, which is a play on the collection of short stories from Carl Richard Jacobi, also called Revelations in Black, with some fun twists. Most of my music knowledge is in prog metal from around 2010 onwards. So do you like Tool? Just gonna ask that. Do you like Tool? I know they're not the most proggy, nor they're the most unique, because they're very mainstream at this point. Oh, that's funny. Don't know much about prog apart from Tool. It's funny. More of a heavy metal and new metal fan. Yeah, we're new metal girlies here. It's part of the deal. There's a significant amount of variety in the genre. It ain't all Tool and Dream Theater. I'm all about that tech death, deathcore, death metal, black symphonic death metal, and gent. Oh, sorry, black symphonic metal and gent. I get a lot of good vibes from this. Totally. Yeah, there's a lot of genre crossing in this album, which is making it very fun and interesting for me personally. Craig's one of the nicest dudes, like the nicest dude, straight up. I love Craig so much. Mirar is so silly. They're cool. I have a few of their songs on my playlist. I think we've listened to them like once in the time I've been doing this. I think Tool is fine. I don't actively listen to them though. They're one of my favorites. I know I told you that they're in my top 5 favorite bands, but I listen to them all the time still. That's like my go-to workout music, and I love working out. Anyway, enjoy stream. I'm off to see ska cover band. Oh my god, have so much fun. I am also going to a show this weekend. I'm going to see Saliva and Drowning Pool on Sunday. So random. We have this little theater in our town. I live in the middle of fucking nowhere. And they're performing at this little fucking theater in my town. Or like a couple towns over. But PJ, hope you have a great time. Thank you so much for making the time to stop by and say hi. That was really kind of you. And you have a great weekend. I'll probably see you on like freaking Monday or something, bruv. Also a huge nu metal fan. Yeah, I think that's like probably our top listened genre in my stream that we all pretty much like. I have lots of metalheads or even people that like don't really care for metal that much, but just like to come to stream and see what we're up to. And nu metal is kind of where we all converge and can get along and appreciate together. Those are always the highest rated songs when we do Vibe Meter and stuff like that. My dad's favorite band is Rush. Nice. And when I would visit, Tool was also played often, so there's a special place for them, for me in that way too. Yeah, you know what's interesting is Tool came into my life later. Like they were big when I was in high school. I graduated in 2008, and they already had a ton of hits by then. They've been around since the 90s, and I didn't start listening to them till like my late 20s. There was, the couple big songs that I knew, like The Pot and Sober and stuff like that. But, like, I didn't start getting into Tool until much later. But they are definitely top 5 for me. Anyway, back to Caelestia. They're going to be watching this back like, what the fuck goes on your stream? Don't worry about it. I'm just happy there's another metal streamer. I got you. I actually know a lot of metal streamers, so if you need some recs, let me know. Tool, you should definitely follow Unmuted if you're not. Unmuted, chow. Tool was like the one band that would show up on the radio that I thought was actually better than most other things. Yeah, so Tool, and another band that I put in my top 5, Incubus, I think are very good examples of disguising musicianship and complex meter to make it mainstream ready, like radio ready. And I think it's great. Incubus has done this for a long time. They're a little bit poppier, a little bit more in like an alt rock lane. But for a band like Tool that's very prog to get away with it and make it to the radio, I think is super impressive and speaks a lot to their talent. Unmuted is great. Oh yeah, Incubus is interesting. I found out someone recently, this band I listened to called Night Versus featured their vocalist on one of their songs. Oh yeah, I think I might have heard that. I think I have heard that song, and it's fucking great. But yeah, Brandon Boyd, phenomenal singer. Another band where, like, at least in their early days, the vocals were very much inside the music as opposed to in front of it. Now, that has changed a lot as they have gained popularity, as their sound has evolved. But if you go way back to, like, Fungus Among Us days of Incubus, very funky, not very poppy, very different, very musical, like very, very risky in terms of being, like, weird if you're trying to get on the radio, in my opinion. Game of Fall, thanks for the rec. Of course, absolutely. All right, we're going to do Revelations in Black one more time, and we're going to roll right into track number 9, Reflection of the Beast. And then the last song, Dead Eternal, which I've done a reaction for, has a music video. So we will pull that up to close us out. A couple more songs. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. This is great. sister 7 years older than me, and she got me into heavier music. Corn. System of a Down with that. Yeah. Sick. Sick? I don't know what that is. Oh, interesting, Panda. I'll have to check them out too. Nice, some good old harmonic minor. I'm getting a little more bass again. Started to crave it. Hey, you were vibing with all that Phrygian, all those Habibi notes? I was, but just for a breather, right. Have to come up for air. Don't pay attention to keys and modes when writing music. That's probably for the best. The ominous guitar chug. Like someone's walking up behind you with a club. Big Jugs! What's up? Love the guitars right here. All right, next song is called Reflection of the Beast.
Shaded
I like what the bass and the drums are doing with the groove of the song. Really nice tonal change for this part. I'm thinking it's the hook. That snare is nice. Hi, Tom. Thomas. A lot of polyrhythms happening in this song. Woo! Dueling guitars! Wow. Reflection of the beast. Really, really clear lyrics, I thought, in certain parts of this song. Wow. Wow. I feel like the guitars are getting even more, you know, like forward. Does that make sense? Are the guitars coming through more to you guys since the beginning? Because that's how I feel. I feel like some of the instruments have taken a little bit of a back seat and the guitars have slowly crept up to the front somehow. I like it. It's cool. I do feel like I'm on a musical journey in a lot of ways. A lot of bass and drum driving here, which has been a theme through a lot of these songs. I think we lost the forwardness of the bass for a couple tracks, and it's right back in your face with this one, for sure. The moment where the reflection of the beast part came in, which I'm going to go ahead and call the hook, really good. Like, really nice transition, very satisfying groove change in that moment, and also, like, a slight tonality change, almost like deeper, darker, and it really, like, links up with the lyrics really nicely. Tasty. All right, let's give it another go And then we got Dead Eternal, and we do have a music video for that last one. Right to the point. You hear that? This is like we're riding through battle. So big, such a big moment right there. The guitar has completely taken over at this point. Bass and drums still in control. Reminiscent of early Megadeth. Maybe this one was composed by guitarists. For sure it was. Reflection of the Beast. All right. Last song we'll check out. If you frequent my stream, you may have seen this one already. Great song. This is the album closer before we wrap up here. It's called Dead Eternal. It's a crazy music video too. Oh, trigger warning, by the way, there's some violence in this. As you can see. Got it. Thank you. Oh, such good drums in this track. Ooh, that bass. Little funky little bass line. The guitars are back! Oh, that was so nice. I forgot about that. Ah, I forgot about that too. Oh, this is why the trigger warning. The dreamer took his life, but his spirit... I see. Wow. Well, you got... Oh, subs? Sorry. That's one of my favorite streamers. Oh my goodness. What a journey we were on, you guys. That was crazy. Thank you guys for being here with me. I really enjoyed that. Your input was extremely valuable to me, and I think we had some really interesting discussions around songwriting and the listener experience as well as the artist, because I know there are both here. Panda said, kind of reminds me of the side project between the two guitarists in Periphery called Haunted Shores, where they make fast stuff for fun. Much black metal influence in it. Oh, that's interesting. I have to check that one out too. I think that was a very, very cool album. It was a really cool review. Thank you guys for being here. You guys were absolutely the right people to do this with. So thank you. I'm glad that you were all available and happened to be here today. That was great. Takeaways from this album. Wow. I did feel like it was a journey musically. I think each instrument definitely got its time to shine. Even the vocals had at least one track where I was like, oh, shit. There they are. There's them folks. Bass and drums were literally the pilot and co-pilot of this bus or aircraft or whatever the fuck. Ship, perhaps? Maybe it's a ship. Kind of feels like maybe we were on a ship of sorts. Lots of Phrygian mode, which I love. My Habibi notes. Someone called the second track Final Boss Music, which I thought was pretty accurate. I like the play on the tempos. I like the play with the complex meter. Lots of polyrhythms to be seen and had. I'm curious about that song, the seventh song, which was like a little interlude called Five Unicorns and a Pearl. And it sounded like a real orchestra. I'd be really surprised if that wasn't actual instruments and actually done with a synth, because it sounded really cool. I was just curious, how they went about that and what was the significance of the Five Unicorns and a Pearl title, since they've kind of moved away from doing symphonic metal over the years. It was a good album, not really my thing, but track 6 and the second from last tracks are the ones that stood out to me. Track 6, indeed. Yes, I think that everyone's favorite was Fall of the Demon King, which is awesome. Very, very Metallica vibes, in my opinion, on that one. At least in the intro. That was what stood out to me. It kind of felt like the intro of something off of like Master of Puppets or Ride the Lightning or something like that. Yeah, I like all of the music nerd shit that's going on here. That's kind of what draws me into metal the most, I would say. And I got a healthy dose of it from start to finish. Even the intro piece, La Morte Amoureuse, was really, really cool. I liked the other song that kind of had that soft guitar intro that was very classical sounding. Those moments to me are very impactful, very meaningful. It had more variety than I thought would come out of it. I agree. Just based on the descriptions, I don't know that I was expecting quite that much variety. And in my opinion, well done. Regardless of whether or not this is your style of music, I think we can all agree that there was a lot of musicality and intention behind the music, behind what they were trying to do. I think it came across as intentional and interesting and artistic. And I think that's what a lot of us are searching for in mainstream music that we don't find. And I can appreciate that regardless of what my preferred genre normally is. I guess that wraps it up. The last thing I'll say that stood out to me about this album is, yes, I know that the main songwriter for this band is the lead guitar player, and I think that does come through in a lot of instances. But taking the album as a whole, the bass did a lot of shining today. And the little guitar chords, like this one that keeps playing in this song, the little jazzy chords that I really liked, were very tastefully done. And it wasn't so much guitar in my face and everything else supporting the guitar like you would think when you hear, oh, guitar player writes all the music and then, you know, the singer comes in later. No, I felt like really, truly, it was a work of art that wasn't just designed to highlight guitars. And I also appreciate that as a vocalist. Just like Svenga Boys was saying, that the vocals are just another instrument or rhythmic element to them. I'm a vocal forward person. So being able to appreciate all those elements like that and noting that they all get their moment to shine really makes it an enjoyable experience for me. Okay, well, thank you guys again. I'm gonna send it over, unless somebody has somewhere else they'd much rather be. I think we're gonna go to Rickard Ekberg of Elaine. If you know. If you know, you know. Thank you for the stream. You're very welcome for the stream. Thank you for being here. Much appreciated. Thank you, Jiner, for that raid message. Absolutely. If you are new here to my community, I definitely recommend getting in the Discord. I usually do submission-based reaction streams. Monday we do new music. Tuesday we do general submissions, sometimes a theme. And then on Thursday I do small artists only, so artists that have less than 50k subscribers or followers, whatever, on Spotify or YouTube. So we're always looking for those little guys so we can prop them up. And I'd love to have you guys over there in my Discord and in my stream Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. I'll be interviewing this band's guitar player on Wednesday if you want to follow up and check that out and ask him any questions you might have after listening to this with me. Otherwise, you know, I'll see you when I see you. I hope you guys have a great, safe weekend. If you get a chance to see some live music, make sure you take that shit, brothers and sisters, while we're still allowed to, depending on what fucking country you're in at this point. And don't forget to make your life a soundtrack. And that's it. Happy weekend. See you later. Bye.